How about now? Any luck? Any luck with the sound now? I was just talking to myself there. I feel like an idiot there. Um, any update? If you can type in the chat there. Okay, good. It looks like the sound's working. Sorry for that, but really exciting game for UConn. There's so much on both sides of things. Definitely some really big positives you can take away from this game. Definitely some things for them to work on. It really just was one of those back and forth games. Again, they get their first big test of the season against Auburn, a team ranked higher than them, a team that's expected to compete in the SEC there. And it was exciting. Out of the gate, it looked like UConn might have been overmatched a little bit. Auburn punched them first in the face there. I think Auburn was up 21-10, I think was the margin there, before UConn turned things around and at one point went on a 13-0 run there to really get back in the game and kind of take control of it. They built the lead up to 15 before they had some difficulties and fell apart there. It was a really tough game for them. That press really gave UConn a lot of issues. And I was a little surprised we didn't get some timeouts earlier on in that second half to try to settle the guys down a little bit, but they powered through, hit some big shots down the stretch. Great point in the comment. KD Johnson, he really he was going all out for Auburn today. I mean, I think there were two tips in the start of the first overtime and the start of the second overtime where he just went and picked it off. Like it was just kind of some sloppy play there, and that was big from KD on Auburn there. But again, UConn was able to kind of overcome some of these big issues that they had in some of the troubles they had against the press and against Auburn's tough defense there. I think first and foremost, you got to start with Adama Sanogo in the game. He had 30 points. I mean, Auburn's got some size too, and he just dominated. I know he went through that stretch a little bit in the second half, where I don't know if he was gassed or having some trouble there, where he missed, I think, 4 shots in a row it was. But you got all you could ask for out of Adama Sanogo today. Really impressed from him. RJ Cole went out there. He was hitting clutch shots. Jordan Hawkins, I know he had a bit of a boneheaded play down the stretch there, but there's so much to look forward to in Jordan Hawkins. I mean, I think he was 3 for 4 from 3 tonight. Really good game from him. And then you just look at the two super seniors we've got in Isaiah Whaley and Tyler Polley and what they were able to do tonight. And they were really probably two of the biggest reasons why UConn won this game when you look outside of Adama Sanogo. I mean, Isaiah Whaley, he didn't do much in the scoring column, only had 2 points. But when you look what he was able to do defensively, I mean, he was locked down. He was getting rebounds, playing tough defense, and doing what UConn needs him to do. Adama Sanogo could be more of the offensive big there and take that part away from Isaiah Whaley. Isaiah Whaley can play good defense and get you some good offensive boards. That's going to be big. And then Tyler Polley, I mean, he got off to a cold start this season on 3-point shooting, but today, I mean, he was on fire and he was hitting big shots when they needed them big time. Had that big one to give them the lead at first before they needed to go to overtime there. Hit some big threes in the overtime and the double overtime. So you look at those super seniors and they're just experienced guys. These guys have been here for a while. And I think one thing that's been interesting that Dan Hurley has talked about multiple times is being able to get this team to win. You saw it a couple years ago when they would come up short, lose in overtime, lose by a basket in regulation, and just couldn't get over that hump to start winning these types of games. And this, I think, was really one of the first big steps where they went out there and had some adversity, battled through a game, and really closed it out, albeit some sloppy play to try to close out the game at times. But really, they went out there and took this game. It was a great win for UConn. Michigan State's going to be a really interesting matchup tomorrow. You hope the 10 extra minutes UConn had to play tonight isn't too hard on them tomorrow. I know we saw Isaiah Whaley went down on the bench there right as the game cut away at the end, so hoping he's okay. It seems like he is. Hopefully it's just some dehydration or some cramping there. But what a win there for UConn. They did everything, all the little things you were looking for coming into the season. Who was going to make up the scoring without James Bouknight? That was a question that was thrown out there all the time. And they showed that they've got a deep roster that could can really contribute. You don't need one guy on this team to take all the shots. I mean, when you look at when they spread out, I mean, we didn't even talk about Tyreese Martin. I mentioned 5 other guys before we even got to Tyreese Martin and the job he did today. He fouled out. It was either right at the end of regulation or heading into early part of overtime there. But he was grabbing boards, making big baskets, playing good defense. This is just a tough, deep team, which I think might help them a little bit tomorrow when they're going to need to dig in a little deeper, playing their second game in a row, heading off a double overtime game there. But I think there are a lot of things you see today that you really like from this team. I mean, the depth is there. For me, the biggest question was just going to see how they were playing up against a highly ranked team and a team that was at their caliber of play. It's tough to judge against LIU and Binghamton when they're beating them by 40 points, CCSU, but see them go really toe to toe with Auburn, be able to build that big lead on them too. I mean, it was up to 15 at one point, so that's a really positive sign. Then again, on the flip side, you got to look about being able to put games away. And I see there's a comment there about really needing to learn how to put those games away. And that's something they definitely need to focus on there. Some sloppy play down the stretch. But hey, it's a good learning experience for them. You can say that now that they were able to win the game. They lost. It's a tougher pill to swallow and kind of take a moral victory there. But they pulled it out. They were gritty. They held through the game. So I'll give it a minute here in case anyone wants to call in and talk here, say any questions. You go to my Twitter at Jared Cutler with the link to call in. I'll keep it open for another minute here. If you got any questions you want to throw in the chat here, let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. And I think tomorrow is going to be an interesting game against Michigan State. UConn's had success against Michigan State in the past too. It's a quick turnaround though off a double overtime game that really wore the guys down. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they can play tomorrow. You get your Thanksgiving started off nice and early at 12 o'clock tomorrow against Michigan State. Send the family away for a little bit so you can watch the game or watch with them. That's how you do it. That's how you get in the holiday spirit at UConn, Michigan State at 12 o'clock. But man, what a game there. Keep it open again just for another minute or so here. See if anyone else has any comments here, anything else I want to say. But again, at the end of the day, really, really good game for UConn. They showed what they were able to do. And at the end of the day, look positive. So I see we've got someone here. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Hey, Jared, how's it going?
Oh, I can't hear you, Josh. You might have to adjust the audio there with the headset in there. Sometimes it gets a little funky.
Let's see here. Can you hear me now?
Still nothing. Sorry, it was being a pain for me earlier too.
All right.
All right, looks like we might have lost Josh there. Sorry about that. Sometimes this thing can be a bit of a pain with the audio settings and going in there. But again, another point, yeah, Tyreese Martin. Yeah, Tyrese is a guy I've been wanting on a UConn team for a while. It reminds me of when they played Cincinnati. Cincinnati always just had those bruising guys that would just mess with them. Just do all those little things, be able to get those rebounds, work guys over, make those tough buckets. And that's what Tyrese has shown that he's able to do. So really impressed with Tyrese and what he's been able to do. And I think he's kind of one of those guys that's a little bit unheralded on this team. He's a bit underrated. I think he automatically jumped to Sanogo and Cole and Jordan Hawkins, Isaiah Whaley, but you don't think too much about Tyreese Martin. He flies a little bit under the radar, but what he provides to this team, I think, is really invaluable. And we didn't even mention Andre Jackson. I mean, he didn't have the best game today. I don't think he got in the scoring column. But again, he's a guy who's really good on defense. And you know what? To show that a guy like Jackson can go scoreless in a big-time game and you could win, and at times be up comfortably, it shows you how deep this team is, which I think is going to be its biggest strength heading into the rest of the season. So appreciate everyone hopping on for a little bit post-game here. Always fun to talk some UConn. Sorry we couldn't get the audio to work for those calling in. We'll try to get that worked out. But appreciate everyone hopping on, chatting with me today, and go Huskies. Enjoy the game.